Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pansa Pansa Podcast. This is your host, Kemi Seriki. I just want to give a special introduction of this special episode that I'm about to release. Every episode in Pansa Pansa is always special because this is a podcast where we talk about the life of African immigrants in the diaspora as we continue to adjust to a new environment, as well as some of the challenges and the success story that is happening within our diversity of community. So this story that I'm about to share with you is about a young man that I came across. His name is Kanyeachukwu Okeke. I came across the story of Kanyeachukwu Okeke through my dear family friend, Dodji, the owner of Kente Royal Gallery. At Kente Royal Gallery, their mission is to feature and connect the strength of Africans in the diaspora through art. In May, Kente Royal featured the artwork of Kanyeachukwu, an exceptionally talented artist, a 13-year-old Nigerian-Canadian young man living with autism. I could not resist my aspiration to request to interview his parents. The parents graciously accepted to my request to interview them, but the interview could not take place while they were in US because of so many engagement that they had in place. So I interviewed Mr. Okeke, the father of Kanyeachukwu, when they returned to Nigeria. This recording underwent so much extensive editing due to difficulties connecting and recording with Nigerian climate. At one point, the NEPA cut off the electricity, which was that was the daily part of Nigerians' life anyway. That's part of the challenges Nigerians faced back home. So, but I'm grateful. I was so grateful that the family generator came on. Then we resumed the interview. During my conversation with Mr. Okeke, Kanyeachukwu also stopped by with his younger brother to say hello. I was so happy to see him. Mr. Okeke proudly showed me some of Kanyeachukwu creative artwork that beautify their home. I mean, this young man is so talented. That's why, this is an exemplary story that every child, no matter what they have, are exceptionally gifted. We just have to find out the gift that they have in different forms. So I will advise you to listen to this podcast, share with many members of our community, share wildly all over the places because it's an inspirational story. And you could also follow Kanyeachukwu on Instagram and Facebook, and he has a website which I'm going to download. I'm going to include all this connection of his website on the podcast note. You could also support Kanyeachukwu because he used some of his artwork proceedings to help other children in Nigeria who are also having been diagnosed with autism. So he's not only for himself, he's also using his artwork to support other people as well, other children who are also, like I said, diagnosed with autism. So thank you very much. Thank you for continuing to listen to podcast, Pansa Pansa Podcast. So here goes the episode. Thank you.
Welcome to the Pansa Pansa Forum. In the Yoruba language, the word pansa is usually injected into poetry to express an uncomfortable, uncensored, and inconvenient truth. The Pansa Pansa Forum is candid conversations about the life of African immigrants in America as it relates to their adaptation to their new home. While some may find it easy to integrate and can balance between retaining the original African culture while accepting the culture of their new home, many continue to struggle to find a balance between both worlds.
Hello and welcome to Pansa Pansa Live. This is a podcast where we discuss the lives of African immigrants and their assimilation into Western society as they raise younger generations in a country that is quite different from their own. We also explore the experiences of children of immigrants as they balance the African and Western cultures. We present to you this informative, interesting, and expansive dialogue about the intricate experiences of African immigrants in America.
Okay, welcome to Pansa Pansa. I'm your host, Kemi Seriki, and today I'm having a conversation with a fellow Nigerian, Mr. Tagbo Okeke, the father of Kanyeachukwu Okeke, the exceptionally talented artist, a young man who was also living with autism. Before I start this conversation, I would like to introduce Kanyeachukwu to our listener to talk a little bit about his achievement as a young man who is also gifted. Kanyeachukwu Tagbo Okeke is a gifted artist whose work has been featured in galleries, museums in Nigeria, Europe, and many parts of Africa. Kanyeachukwu is living with autism, and as he quoted on his website, "I paint my own reality." Every year, Kanyeachukwu hosts a long week of multiple group of art exhibition called FAT, Fabulous Autistic Talent, to celebrate World of Autism Month. The goal of this yearly exhibition is to promote awareness and acceptance and inclusivity of autism members of the society who are living with autism. So apart from this, he also won so much award globally, all over the world, from New York Expo 2021, Vancouver, Canada Expo in 2022. I can't even continue to list all this, but I'm going to write it on the podcast notes when I have to feature it on the podcast. So welcome to Pansa Pansa, Mr. Okeke. I really thank you for coming to Pansa Pansa platform to have conversation with me about your son and your experience navigating through the world of autism in Nigeria regarding finding appropriate and adequate services to address your son's special need and to discover his talent as well, which is very remarkable. So would you like to further introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your background, your family background to our audience, and your child, and which part of Nigeria you came from?
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Kemi. My name is Tagbo Okeke. Just like you said, and I'm Kanyeachukwu's dad. Kanyeachukwu is a 13-year-old child. Well, not a child anymore, 13-year-old young man living with autism. We have been living in Nigeria. Kanye was introduced to art at the age of 5, started painting at the age of 5. So now he's been painting for 7 years. And just like you said, Kanyeachukwu has the foundation called the Kanyeachukwu Autism Society. And we organize every year. We've been doing that now for the past 4 years. We organize a multi-group art exhibition. That multi-group art exhibition is where we get other children who are talented and who are gifted, but who are also living with autism or special needs, who are gifted and who are talented. And that's why we called it the FAT, which is Fabulous Artistic and Talented Exhibition. We hold it every year during the World Autism Month of April. First week in April, actually.
Yes, thank you so much. So can you tell our listener about Kanyeachukwu, where you were? I know he was born in Nigeria. How was his pregnancy before he was born and his early formative years as a toddler?
Kanyeachukwu was born in Canada. The pregnancy was good. There was no problem. Even up to the time he was born, there was no problem. When he was about 3 years old, that we started to notice that he wasn't developing the way his older ones had developed. And of course, it gave us cause for concern. And so we started to, he was not well. He didn't walk early. He was mumbling a lot of sound, but he was not speaking. And so that was why we started it gave us cause for concern. And of course, then we started going to hospitals. But autism, about 10 years ago, was still a very, very new thing, even here in Nigeria, here in Abuja. A lot of doctors didn't even know about it because a lot of hospitals which we went to, we should have been able to get properly diagnosed. We went to it. He was fine. There was no problem with him. And then, of course, our fears were finally confirmed when we took him to a doctor who has a child that has autism and even has an institution for autistic children and children living with special needs here in Abuja. And then she now said, listen, for us to get confirmation, we could go elsewhere. And so we did travel with him to Canada. And immediately we got to the hospital. The first doctor that saw him said that he has autism. even without doing an ECG or whatever. The doctor said he has autism, and a proper diagnosis was given to us. From there, we came back and then started looking for how to manage our situation.
So what was your initial reaction when you learned about his diagnosis, you and your wife? What was your reaction?
We too didn't know anything about autism, really.
Wow.
My wife was actually, the verdict that was given to my wife, it wasn't me that was spoken to, but my wife, the verdict that was given to her was, listen, you have your child will more or less be useless. You would have to care for the child for the rest of the child's life. And so that was the verdict given. At that time still, we didn't know. So of course, when she came back from Canada with him, we started to read a lot of Google.
Yeah.
And that was where we were able to get, first of all, learn about the statistics, learn that it was so prevalent in the United States and in Europe. For it to be so prevalent in the United States and in Europe, prevalent also in Black communities, it obviously has to be prevalent in Africa or Nigeria, just that people didn't know. And so we read a lot, got to know that the condition only could be managed. There's really no cure. So, of course, we now started to find how to manage it. He had to be, of course, be withdrawn from the school where he was. We first took him to the institution that I spoke about, the doctor who started to care for him. Then, of course, we started to get him enrolled in different vocational classes, because beyond what other people advised or the remedies that have been used in the past, we noticed that he was hyperactive. And that's the ADHD, which he had. So we needed to get him busy all the time. I've since found out that this is also the case with many children who are living with autism as well. They need to get their minds busy. They need to always get them occupied. So we wanted to do that then, before we knowing that this was what should be done. So we got him, anything we could lay our hands on. Soccer classes, running, bicycle riding, got a professional rider and see if they can ride together in the stadium. Anything that we could lay our hands on to get him to, to be busy, exert a lot of energy so that he can now be calm. A lot of autistic kids, I found out, when they're much younger especially, they're all over the place, jumping on the chair, jumping on the table, rolling on the floor, screaming, and so on. And there are more meltdowns when they're younger than when they grow. So that's what we did. Got him a lot of vocational things to be doing to get him busy. That's what we really did.
Yeah. Well, so he has two diagnoses, not only autism, also ADHD as well, whereby concentration is really needed, as well. So that's a lot. And I know you said he was diagnosed in Canada, because in America here, children with specific special need are evaluated, whereby they generate something called IEP. I don't know whether they have the same thing in Canada, whereby individualized educational program is a tool that documents how the child who have some form of learning differences or some form of disability are evaluated through. So it's an agreement. That IEP is an agreement between the parents and the institution that this is what your child needs, the education that they're going to provide, the kind of education, the support that they're going to provide. That's what we have in here. So were you given that in Canada?
I can't say, because like I said, my wife went with him to Canada.
Okay.
I didn't go with them.
Okay.
However, even if it was given to him, I'm sure it was, because he's a Canadian citizen as well. The thing is, they came back immediately. So even if that was given to him,
how will it work in Nigeria?
How will it work in Nigeria? Exactly.
So in Nigeria, how did you find out the way to get appropriate school setting for him? I know, apart from you and your wife, whereby you were blessed with some resources compared to what is available to the general public, how were you able to find him the appropriate help? Was it through the public educational system in Nigeria or through private system? Okay,
well, first of all, let me correct the notion which you just espoused now. We are not, my wife and I are not, how did you put it? as if we're well off. No,
No, you are not well off, but you're comfortable a little bit.
We are exposed. We might be exposed.
Mm-hmm.
My wife is an engineer. She's a doctor and she's also an engineer. So she's a very exposed woman.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that is what helps out a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Exposure is key.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing you said was, how are we able to begin to get help, I think. Now, one of the ways by which we were able to get help was to come out of denial. Mm-hmm. We were in denial before we found out he had autism. Mm-hmm. But immediately we knew he had autism because we were so concerned about getting him help as quickly as possible. Mm-hmm. We knew we were running out of time by then. So we came out. Mm-hmm. We told family, we told friends, and then we started to look for different WhatsApp groups and mothers of autistic, families of autistic. There were different groups all over the place. We joined a couple of them just to also get ourselves, we were invited to many, and then of course we joined. And this was just, we can also partake in sharing of information. Information was always being shared there amongst mothers, different diets, and different doctors, different institutions. These are the kind of information that was being shared in most of these groups. Now, let us understand one thing, which is what you said that is correct. It's all self-help. Most of what goes on here in Nigeria, and I'm sure in Africa, really, is self-help. The government is not providing assistance to children or parents of children living with autism. No such provision is being made. Now, there might be provision being made for children, for people living with disabilities. There are laws which need to be expanded. We've spoken about, we've spoken out of this, and I'm sure a lot of other parents have as well, where children living with special needs have to be included. And when you say children living with special needs, it should be specified what actually is the issue, the problems that they are being confronted by. Mm-hmm. If it is autism, list it. If it is ADHD, list it. If it is cerebral palsy, list it. Every single special need should be included in the act. And so it will be very clear. And then by doing that, the government would now be able to understand more the issues at stake. That is one thing. So the government does not partake in caring for or providing for children living with special needs here. So everything has to be self-help. Now, there are groups and there are WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups. They go as far as they can, but how far can they really go? A lot of people have resorted to self-help because of the cost involved. So you see a lot of mothers leave their jobs, begin to study more about the issue in order to help their children. Mm-hmm. In my own case, my wife had to leave her job and become a full-time housewife in order to actually focus on Kanyeachukwu. That is really a heavy burden, and it is really a heavy burden which so many families carry over here because there is no support at all from the government, none at all. And so that's what we did. Getting him in a school, we had to also look for a school that has a semblance of providing facilities for children living with special needs. So far, I must say that though they're trying, they are, but it would be a lot much more better if they were able to get support from the government, maybe non-governmental organizations. Yeah. Maybe they could get a little bit more support, not just in the aspect of facilities, like iron, brick, mortar, no, but human capacity building. There's a strong need for teachers and caregivers to be fully trained and retrained as caring for children living with special needs and adults living with special needs. Research has made it known that it's a dynamic thing. You continue to learn every day. You continue to get new information every day. And it is important that this information that is being gotten every day is being passed on to the caregivers. It's being passed on to teachers. It's being passed on to institutions and the boards, governing institutions, so that they know how to implement certain things that might not even really cost much, but be able to implement it and then be able to retrain their staff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is so, heartbroken in terms of the people. Imagine those who are less fortunate, who do not have the educational background, or even the resources to be able to get a lot of all these things in place for themselves. And I bet there's so many children in Nigeria that they actually facing all those problems, so many families that they actually facing those problems because of inadequacy of resources for them.
Yes.
And the government is actually, I'm not sure how much, help that they tend to provide for those set of families. And thank you so much for that, because I know through talking to you that it's part of your passion that you want to be able to establish and bring all this knowledge back to Nigeria, whereby many people will be able to have this kind of support that is needed.
Say hello. Hello. Good evening.
Hi.
Okay, I'm in a meeting. Can you come and say hello? I'm in a meeting. Say hello, Kanye.
Kanye, you remember me?
You can't
From
hear
New
you.
York.
Just say good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Okay. Yeah.
So he has siblings. Those are his siblings.
Yeah, that's his little brother.
Okay.
He has an older brother.
Okay. So you have three of them.
Yes, three of them, and then he has an older sister.
Oh, okay.
Who's in America.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good. So how do your family adjust your home environment to meet his need?
Well, the first thing that we did was, like I told you, when he came back from Canada with the mother and he was diagnosed with autism, we let everybody know. We let everyone know. My sisters, my brothers, my wife's sisters and brothers, the grandparents, and so on. We let everybody know that this child had autism, and everybody needs to go and find out what autism is about so that they would know how to handle him whenever he's with them. We did not isolate him from them. We did not isolate him, and we did not ever stop him from going around where they are. If he's going to misbehave, let him, what we call misbehave. I mean, if he's going to have a meltdown, if he's going to be himself, if he's going to run around or whatever, let him do it in front of them. Let them see it, and let them also begin to look for how to also manage him. We didn't stop that at all. So what we did was we created a village around him. We created people around him who understand him, or at least know him. Understanding is a totally different thing.
Yeah.
But at least they know him, care about him as well. Only people we isolate from him are those who we know who do not care about him. We needed to also secure him and secure his environment very properly, which is what we set out to do. It's a hard task for any parent to do.
Yeah.
You'll probably lose some friends. You'll probably also gain some friends as well.
Yeah.
You might probably lose some, even some family members. Some might want to talk. Some might want to ridicule you, ridicule him. It is the reason why a lot of people live in denial. It is the reason why a lot of people would rather lock up the child or send the child far away instead of facing that. But I tell people that's the monster that needs to be dealt with. And if you're a parent, a father or a mother, if you're not able to protect your child, I don't see isolating your child as protecting the child. I don't see sending the child away as protecting the child, or denying that your child has a condition. You're not protecting the child. Because if you pass off that child as normal, one day the child grows up and you're not around and you're not there to guide the child or introduce the young adult now or adult.
Yeah.
And people see something, what would they say? So the first thing that we did was come out, tell people, this is what we are facing. Let everybody know. Not necessarily help me by, help me, come and, look after my child for me. No.
Yeah.
But help me in the sense that when you see my child, do not discriminate my child. If you see my child, because it always happens. I like to face reality, where he would have people look at him funny, stare at him. Somebody can be there and say, oh, this child has autism. And that would end the matter right there. That the child has a medical condition. a health condition. That's the reason why. So that is what we did. That's what we set out to do.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you did that, because there's a mass education that is needed in Nigeria.
Yes.
Especially with children with special need. And like you said, there's so many parents, instead of actually facing and seeking help for their child, they lock the child up somewhere or take the child back to the village and say, this is a shame.
Yes.
I can hear you. I hope NEPA didn't take the light.
It's NEPA.
It's NEPA. I have to put this inside it. When I edit it, I have to, NEPA don't carry light go.
Yeah, okay. They put on the gen. Yeah,
yes, thank you. Like I was saying, this too superstitious way of thinking in Nigeria, whereby when things like this happen, some people may think, oh, somebody sent you bad luck, or you are not prayerful enough. That's why you have this kind of child. So how can we, especially in Nigeria, re-educate our people's mind? Because you are coming out with this story, and it's so powerful that you and your wife, your family accepted your son for his diagnosis, and then you using that as a way to educate the masses of the people in Nigeria. How can we continue to grow this kind of comfortability among people who their children are diagnosed with some form of disability or any other way?
Okay. I think the first thing and the only thing I feel is advocacy. I think what we need to first of all do is we need to get a lot of advocacy out there. We need to first of all speak to those who have children living with autism. If you have a child living with autism and maybe you're living in denial, we need to speak to you and let those ones be told that they need to come out. More centers need to be established for diagnosing the condition. Like I told you before, it is not just about having facilities, but manpower has to be regenerated. You have to have more centers that are able to diagnose this condition when it comes up. Because let us never forget that the best way to tackle autism is early detection.
Yes.
And once you detect it early, the next one should now be talking about intervention. Let's first get the first one correct. If there is early detection, you know early enough, between the age of 2 and 3, it's getting late after 3 years old. Between 2 and 3, you are able to detect that this child has special needs, or this child has autism, or this child has ADHD, and so on. Once you detect it early, then the next thing will now be intervention. So intervention, yes, we can argue that we have families who cannot afford the intervention, right? Then that would lead to the next thing, which is once we are able to establish the centers that detect this ailment, this condition in children. Remember, the statistics has been on the increase in the US. When we started reading about autism, there was an average of 34% in the US. Now it's hovering between 40 and 50% children right now. That is in the United States. That is in Europe. Because most of the statistics which we read are data that have been gotten from foreign countries.
Yeah.
So if we are able to establish those diagnostic centers here or make it more accessible here, you would, I'm sure, find out that the statistics of children living with autism in Nigeria would be very high.
Yeah.
Very high. Once we're able to do that, then the issue of intervention is now easy for you to approach the government with the data which you have. Once there is strong data proving that we are facing a tremendous issue, which nobody is talking about, government would probably be more compelled to begin to look more at intervening and helping those who have no single means of helping themselves, for starters. Because they always say that for justice to be properly served, it should not respect, social strata. So we start with them. Then, of course, you would move to other families, and everybody across board should be able to access some kind of help or assistance from the government. But government will not do anything if they don't have the data that shows it is getting to an epidemic proportion. Yeah. Why do I say this, Ma? I spoke to somebody once who told me he was trying to build a school. It was supposed to be a non-profit thing that he had going on, and he wanted to build a school somewhere. And I said, fantastic. He's crazy about my son. He loves my son's art. And then I said to him, okay, have you thought about building a school, a center for children living with special needs? He said, no. Calmly, he said, no. And I was like, why? And he's like, why should I? He said, what is the ratio of children living with autism to those that do not live with special needs in Nigeria? What's the percent? Maybe 1% or 1% or 2% of the entire population of children in Nigeria. Well, we are still bothered about providing education for the vast majority of children before we start talking about children living with special needs. Now, that brings the reality to you that this is even a private individual. They say private individuals, non-profits, they think about these things even more. But this is somebody telling me, why should I even bother myself? So then you ask yourself, why should government even be bothering themselves? Because they do not have data. They do not have the facts. The proper research has not been done. So they do not know how many actually live with this condition. You talk about many people sending their children to the villages. You talk about people taking their children to mental institutions where they will just be drugged all day long, probably, and you never know whatever the child can do. You never know that the child is not actually useless, but people do these things. If you say today you want to get data, you would need to still go to the villages. You would need to go to the health institutions. You would need to go to the other institutions. You would need to then be speaking to families or organizations who have been working on this particular issue of autism, who come out every April to talk about it a lot more. You would need to go to all of them and begin to get data. You are now talking about a country where we don't even have proper and adequate data to support most of the things that we want to do. Not just Nigeria, but a lot Africa, parts of Africa, same thing. Data is the problem. Accurate data. So you need all this has to be looked into. All this has to be looked into.
Apart from the data too, sometimes if these things affect even the politicians themselves personally, maybe it's through that education that they may understand that this is really something they need to look into. Because if something affects you personally, you will take initiative. You will educate yourself and take initiative into.
Exactly. That's a very good point which you have just raised. Over the years, I've also found out my own personal view that things move faster when we are speaking with people who either have children living with special needs, or they have a family member, or they know somebody living with special needs. The conversation is more straightforward. The implementation of actions is faster once you're dealing with somebody who has a personal experience. Yes, so that is a very good point. But remember, like I said, the first and foremost thing, easiest thing anybody can say they want to do now, it would not only help your data collection, but it would also help you in spreading awareness. If you have more diagnostic centers solely or primarily targeted at knowing or helping those who want to get to know their children's health status. Do they have autism or not? Do they have ADHD or not? The more you set them up, the more awareness is created. If you set up a diagnostic center here in Abuja now, all of a sudden, publicize it all over the place. Of course, while publicizing it, their company story is going to be a story on autism, isn't it? Their company story is going to be a story on ADHD, isn't it? By doing that, you're already spreading awareness. So you're telling people that this thing is a condition. We've seen that this thing is increasing, and therefore we want to see if a lot of our children are actually suffering from this thing. It will be in the newspapers. It will be in the television. It will be in the radio. And awareness is being spread. You set up one in Lagos. You set up one maybe in Jos. You set up in Enugu. Awareness is being spread. Every time you commission, awareness is being spread. It will now no more be only April that we'll be talking about autism. Every other quarter or month, we'll be talking about autism because you'll be commissioning a project which is for the advancement of knowledge on autism. Once you say you're setting up a diagnostic center, you are setting up an institution that is supposed to advance knowledge.
Yeah, that's what it is. And you don't know the talent you could bring out like Kanye now.
Yeah, by the time you are doing that, you will now see more people coming out. You will now see people who have been saying it's a spiritual problem, saying, come, let's see whether it is a medical problem or let's take this child to this place. It's free. Government is paying for it. Or it is just 50 naira or 100 naira. Government is subsidizing it for the poor. So we take our child there. The child gets diagnosed. He's healthy, fine. He has autism, fine. He doesn't have, fine. He has ADHD, fine. You will get to know that day. Then the next topic of discussion will be what next. You can't be talking about what next if you have not done the first thing. The first basic thing should be done. So that's it.
Yeah, that is so powerful what you just said, because we cannot continue to push things under the rug, and we have to face the reality of things. We have to provide for every child, whether they have learning differences or some form of disability that they need.
Exactly. It mustn't even only be autism.
There's so many other places whereby you have children who have mental health issues, neurological problem that they need help in getting those services for them. So Nigeria needs to move up. Africa in general, we have to change our way, our focus, or what we are providing for our population at large. So I know there's so many services that your son may be getting depending on his diagnosis. What are the services that he's getting now?
When you say services, are you talking about
educational program as well as other services that could help him with apply behavior analysis or developmental intervention or play?
Yes, we have an ABA specialist who sees him about twice a week. He goes to a regular school. He has another ABA practitioner who follows him to school and acts like a shadow. We practice inclusive learning. We advocate for inclusive learning for all of them. So we practice it. It costs us a lot to actually do that, but we just have to walk our talk. So he also has vocational stuff that he does. He's an artist, of course. He sits down with an art teacher, although my son is an abstract artist. So he sits down with an art teacher, though, to take him to the rudimentary parts of art. He plays basketball. I took him to go play basketball this morning. He goes cycling with me. And then, of course, we have a normal teacher from the school who we also bring to the house. And her work is primarily to refresh his memory on what he learns in school. That day. And then all of this, at the end of in the evening, he sits down with either myself or with his mom. And we also get to do anything, read stories, solve mathematical questions. Basic mathematical questions, we solve them, and that's fine. We have somebody who works on his communication skills. We hold periodical meetings in his school where we get all the teachers who work with him to sit down with his the ABA practitioner who serves as his shadow, and we all sit down and we have an IEP meeting, periodical IEP meeting.
That is so extensive. Can you imagine? Even though I would consider your son to be much more functioning autistic child, young man, compared to some other people that their situation may even be more severe than what he has. And he's getting all those things. And that actually coming from your own pocket is not something that the government is actually providing in Nigeria. So exactly. I know this war, caring for this young man, talented young man, is emotionally tasking. Advocating, doing so much that you want to make sure that is at least able to do so many things for himself, able to develop talent for himself, able to do things for himself, because it's not something easy. So how are you and your wife addressing your own emotional needs as well?
It's very important that we get as much support, mental support as you can. If you're going to care for a child living with special needs, it's very important because the child, you need to be mentally stable to actually care for the child. You also need to be mentally stable for yourself. It was at the beginning stage, I could tell you, yes, that there was a lot of confusion. But over time, I've learned to give my wife a lot of room when she needs it. We just came from a 1 month tour. Let me call it a tour. We had the solo exhibition in New York. Then we had another exhibition in Washington, D.C., 2 places in Washington, D.C. It was very tasking. But what I do is, even after all that, what I did, I came back with Kanye. I'm about to stay back in the U.S. for a few more weeks. Like I said, my daughter is there too. So she could stay with her and rest a little bit. We give ourselves that kind of time. The time you need to get away, 2 days, 3 days alone, normally going out with your friends, your girlfriends, spend time with your family as well, while I will look after him, and vice versa. It's also one of the reasons, like I said, that he has so many things he's doing, so that there's also time for you to be on, do what you need to do as well. Mm-hmm. It's very important, because even raising a normal child, you need to have a good mental health balance to raise a normal child. Talk also of raising a child living with special needs, and do not be in any doubt that these children living with special needs can also see their problem is expression, their problem is communication, primarily. It's communication, expressing themselves properly. But they see what is happening. So where there's a lot of issues in the home, in the family, I think it will also reflect. So we try to bring that balance as much as we can, trying to also get the siblings to be well prepared. And at the same time, while making them well prepared, not taking them away from their own life. They have a life they have to live as well. They have to also develop themselves. They also have to grow. But being best friends with Kanye, not just siblings, but best friends as well. Yeah. So that there would be enough space in their hearts to also look out for him while looking after him. Look out for him and look after him. So we find a way. And then, like I said, we created a village around him that helps us out a lot as well. Wow, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, yes, you cover so many bases, and you could write a book. And I think, no, you could write a book. You and your wife could come together and write a book about this. And I think also when you write your story, you write your family story regarding Kanye, I think it will help so many families in Nigeria, because it could be like a staple example of this is how you're dealing with this, even regarding what you told me now about your emotional balance and how you're able to balance all these things with your wife, as well as the children, as well as creating a village that will be able to help the whole family. Okay, and to educate everybody that, this is a child, we need a relief. Because in the West here, many families who have a child with autism, they have some form of respite care whereby the parents will take the child into some form of home care, whereby they will stay there for like few weeks before, coming back home. So to give the parents some form of relief from that. But you're able to build that in Nigeria, which is very powerful. Even here in America, some people are on waiting lists to be able to get those kind of services, but you're able to create something unique that, a village in Nigeria within your family and extended family as well. That's very powerful. So let's now talk about, I don't want to keep you too long because I know Nigeria with the problem. Now let's quickly talk about his gifted talent as an artist. When did you discover that Kanye has a talent?
5 years old.
Wow.
Okay, 4 years old is when we started seeing him scribbling. By between 4 and 5, that is when we enrolled him in an art class. So let's say 4 years old.
Wow. So, and when he started drawing that, you started noticing something unique about him. How would you describe his body disposition or his mood when he's drawing or painting?
Oh, Kanye he's smiling, he's happy when he's painting. From when he was a kid, it's not a stressful thing for him. It's what he wants to do. So he could be smiling, he could be, there are many videos. I mean, if you go to his Instagram handle, you would see a lot of videos of him painting. And when you see those videos, you would see him actually smiling, while painting. Yes. He can paint for hours. And like I said, I'll just give you a brief on it. So He started painting when he was 5. He got enrolled in an art class, painting when he was 5. We were just taking him to that art class for over a year, 2 years, just going to regular classes because the art teacher that we took him to was the only one that wanted to take him in. Immediately she met him, she said, this is a genius. And she said she wanted to work with him. And it was then she started to actually do research on autism because she didn't even know anything about autism as well. She's from Pakistan. And then from there, she started working with him. And I would have to, either I or my wife would have to follow him to art class and sit down there with him. Because like I said, he had ADHD. So he's not going to sit down unless he knows, okay, somebody's there, his mom or his dad. He had his first exhibition when he was 7 years old. International exhibition in Austria. When he was 7 years old, he was invited to Austria. And then after invited to Austria, we had his first multi-group exhibition the following year in April. And then he had turned 8 years old. Since then, we've been holding it every year. Okay, we didn't hold only in 2020 because of the lockdown. So we've held in every subsequent years.
That's so powerful. That is so powerful. I know he has so many paintings as well. What would you say is your favorite painting?
There's a painting in this house which is like unbelievable. There's one behind me.
Yeah, I can see that.
There's another one on the other side. No. There's a painting which I would say is, I can show you. Okay, here we have some of his works. Here in the dining.
Wow.
Can you see?
Yes.
This is one of his old works. This was done in 2018.
Wow.
This is one of his works as well.
Wow.
This is his works.
Just look at that. Just look at that.
This is one of his works as well.
Wow.
This is one of his works as well.
Wow. Just look at that.
That one too. He did this with crayon. This was done with crayon alone. Crayon.
Wow.
And we have, all over my house, we have his works all over the place. It's like a mini art studio.
Yes.
We have works here too.
Wow.
All over the place. Down there, there's works over there. He has this one.
Wow. So unique.
This one. That's my favorite.
Yes. Yes. Wow. Wow. Wow.
It's this high.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this is my favorite.
Oh my God.
And this was done in, this was also done in 2018.
That was how old at that time?
2018, he was 8 years old.
He is so gifted. He is so gifted.
Thank you.
He is so gifted.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's also Kanye Autism Society, KAS, where he donates some of his proceeds to charitable causes in Nigeria.
From all his artworks that are sold, we donate a percentage of them to the Autism Society. Now, the Autism Society now donates to certain orphanages. We have about 3 orphanages here in Abuja that are focused on orphaned special needs children. A lot of them abandoned, a lot of them, picked up from the streets, a lot abandoned by their parents. So we focus on them. So we pay for some therapy for some of the kids. We buy art equipment for them as well. And of course, the usual, every other thing. We support them as in any way which we can. But they are on our list, and we constantly, from every artwork sold by Kanye, we throw it back in for them. Through his foundation, we are also doing a lot of advocacy. It's in the name of his foundation that we do most of our advocacy. So we don't think it's just one private citizen. No, we are representing a child living with autism, and then we are representing children living with autism.
Autism as a community at the same time. So, and I know there's so much negative image around the world and stigma associated with children with autism, as well as, the parents. We already discussed that. Would you mind sharing some of the negative experience, whether in Nigeria or around the world as you travel around?
The stigma. There's really no other way to describe it than it's discriminatory.
Yes.
There's that stigma. And this is one of the reasons that most people do not come out and say, oh, they have a child with special needs or they have a problem, because of the stigma associated with it. In other parts of the world, it's a lot less.
Okay.
But here in Nigeria, there's a sort of structural discrimination, which I've noticed, and I feel people need to also understand. If I go somewhere with my child, people are fond of, even abroad, you see a person with a child, oh, hello, young man, how are you? Even though he didn't approach you, you just want to greet, say hello. That's a nice thing. It's our culture. In some cases, that's how we are. We're jovial people. So he doesn't say hello. He doesn't answer you. Young man, I'm talking to you. He still doesn't answer you. Shake me now. Shake me now. Now, I'm there while this is happening. I'm standing right there. So it's not like as if he's trying to be friendly, but in a way it's discriminatory. When you now get to the point where I now say to you, excuse me, sir, he has autism. So he's not going to, he doesn't want to talk to you. He has autism. And then the next thing you say is, sorry. It's not a pity party thing.
Yes.
That pity party to me is discriminatory. Don't pity me. Just get educated.
Yes.
Just get educated. Oh, what is autism? I've never heard anybody, when they do this, their pity party thing, say to me, what is autism? Autism, I've never heard of that thing before, because I know something for sure, madam, that the person that I'm talking to knows nothing about autism. I know.
Yeah.
A taxi driver, an immigration officer at the airport, a flight attendant. Okay, maybe some flight attendants. But I'm talking about locally. That person doesn't know anything about autism. Why don't you just ask? I will even feel better. What is autism? Then I explain it to you. Then you realize you're not supposed to actually pity him. What you're supposed to do is educate yourself. That's the only way you can help him. Pitying him is not going to do anything for him. So that is a structural type of discrimination, which I despise it so much. I think it's wrong. That's where a lot of people get it wrong. If you really want to help, ask the person. That person that tells you this child has autism definitely knows about it. Ask the person. And I'll tell you why I call that thing discriminatory. I've also been in a situation. There was a Christmas fair that took place here in Abuja one time. I went with Kanye. My son has OCD, which is a condition, it's a repetitive condition. He will be asking for something over and over again. So he has OCD, and he's a lot interested in clothing. He will keep telling he wants a blue shirt, a brown trouser, a blue shirt, a brown trouser. And then if he goes to a store where they sell clothes, that's what he's going to be asking for. And if he sees it, he's going to grab it and ask me to pay for it by force. Now, we went for a fair in Abuja, and we went to a shop. An old lady, an elderly lady, not an old lady, elderly lady, is the one who, it was a store. And he walks in and he wants to, his shirt. And the girls are trying to hold him, because he wants to take the shirt and move. And then she's calm, looking at him. And as I show up, because I'm coming from behind, I show up and I observe that she's the owner of the store. So I don't bother talking to the ladies. I just go to her and I say, I'm sorry, ma, he has autism. She said, no, don't worry. I know. I can see it. He has autism. That's no problem. No problem. And she just says, oh, you're doing so well with him that you're even taking him out. And she tells me in a split second there that her sister's child has autism. And so she knows about it. Do you see the difference in the two situations right now? One person, I tell you the child has autism. You go, hey, yeah. No, well, you really don't know anything about it. The other person, I'd say the child has autism. And the woman is easygoing, free-flowing, no problem. Oh, okay, no. Oh, yeah, I understand. There's no, sorry, there's no, hey. So I I have to leave you now.
Yeah, so let me just finish the closing. So I just want to know, how can our listener connect with you? For those who may want to support, connect with you or further learn about Kanyeachukwu's or support Kanyeachukwu's Autism Society, how can they do that?
You can follow him. You can first start up by following him on Instagram. His Instagram handle is at Kanye_Tagbo. We're on Twitter and we're on Facebook as well. The Kanyeachukwu Autism Society. I mean, my number in Nigeria, because we live here, we're more here. My number in Nigeria, I could also give it to you. My wife's number as well. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, whenever we travel, I think this is the longest one we actually have traveled. Whenever we travel, we don't stay longer than when the exhibition takes place, because he needs to always get back to his routine back here.
Yes.
So, yeah. So I can also send you my number, my phone number, and then you can, if anybody wants to support, speak about it, know more about Kanye, know more about his art, know also about the advocacy work that we do, and also know about other children living with autism here who are in need of therapy, who are in need of intervention or care. Because one of the things we did with the Kanyeachukwu Autism Society is that we actually set up an online platform where we link sponsors to kids who are living with autism, but who cannot, their parents cannot afford the care that they need. So we were able to map out institutions in various parts of the city. So we have kids who are living as close enough as possible to those institutions, which we have mapped out. We have the list. So if anybody wants to help out, if anybody wants to sponsor, even if it's to provide therapy for a month, 2 months, 3 months, a year, it's all there. And then we link them directly with the school. We don't take any money or any funds. A sponsor is linked with the school. The school gives you their curriculum, what the fees and so on. And then you can now discuss with the proprietor or proprietress, as the case may be, of the school. If you want to care for a child for just a month, if you want to pay for therapy for 3 months, for 6 months, for a year, for as long as the child needs it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, intervention which you want to give to whichever child, it's all there in our website. So we do that as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Okeke. Pansa Pansa continue to normalize conversation about the importance of community engagement, about African experience around the world, advocating for adequate educational needs and adequate support for our children with special needs. As I always say, as we continue to discuss difficult conversation or issue within our community globally, we're shredding away stigma associated with uncomfortable dialogue. Thank you so much, Mr. Okeke. I really thank you for your generosity, your vulnerability in sharing your experience with me today, and to others who will listen and learn from your heartwarming account on how you're able to nurture this incredible, talented artist to bring out his artistic gift to the world. He uses his artwork to speak for himself and for others who are unable to speak for themselves. There's an African proverb that I will say, however a tree may be tall, it will never stop sun from shining. And with your dedication to your son, that sun is actually shining on Kanyeachukwu and your entire family. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Pansa Pansa Live Podcast. We hope to have you back with us in the next episode as we continue to explore the nuances of the African immigrant experience. If you'd like to connect with us, you can email us at talk@pansapansa.org. That is talk@pansapansa.org. And follow us on Instagram at pansa.pansaforum. Until next time, remember to spread kindness and love. Thank you and take care of yourselves.